rogue. Because the rogue has all the same weapons Rog does, but gets a critical chance boost. Oh, that's what Lunar Inferno is. Your weapon's damage scales with your defense. Reduce power or damage scaling by 50%. Ooh, okay. That explains why that unlocked off of having a certain amount of defense then. Okay. That's actually kind of neat. Let's go ahead and start working the katana up, because the experience boost from that could actually be huge. Like, I do want to keep working all of these talents up. I'm actually going to take the cleaver, and we'll go with a bunch of melee stuff. Oh, yeah, you don't count as melee, because we do need to get the unlock for the wind blade at some point, because I thought I had it, but apparently I don't. So my only melee-oriented talents... Yeah, because the spear is a projectile as well, so my only melee-oriented talent is the crystal sword. So, you know, maybe we won't do melee right now, then. Or actually, here, we'll flip it, then. We could start with the cleaver. And that gives us a circle of slashes as well. So sure, we'll do that. We'll try a wacky, like, close combat setup. And it's only gonna be D rank, so it shouldn't be too bad. He says knowing full well that this is gonna blow up in his face somehow, especially now that he said that. But, you know, it is what it is. It'll either work or it won't. Let's see, golden card selection, golden card selection. Doesn't really matter which way we go. We'll go this way. Thankfully, we have boosted projectiles and everything right out the gate, so we throw a cone of cleave. Remember how the cleaver ended up seeming kind of bad when we were doing it the other day, and we were doing those higher corruption runs? This is what I was expecting the cleaver to be doing for me. It's just wiping everything in a cone in front of me. Okay, good. It did auto-equip. I always check those because I can't trust it to auto-equip appropriately. Speaking of, do we even have equipment on? We don't. We can get away with losing a dash charge, that's fine. I need some base or bonuses here. Sure. God damn it. I always forget that that's annoying that way. Yeah, we don't have anything else the rogue can really use. But that'll help. Not that I really need the help at the moment, because it is just base corruption D rank, but every little bit. And honestly, limiting how many weapons you have may seem like a huge detriment, but if you think about it, it both is and isn't, because it allows you to focus a lot more on the stats that benefit those two weapons the most. So you end up with two very powerful weapons. It just needs to not be two terrible weapons. And it's ideally two weapons that kind of work together. Like, honestly, the single weapon challenge, I think, was one of the easiest ones I had out of that rank. But if I had to do it again on a higher rank, it would definitely be more difficult. Just by virtue of the scaling involved. Because I do think there is a limitation point you'll hit eventually with only having 1 or 2 weapons. That's not the one I want either. Like, if I really wanted to, I could turn this 2-weapon challenge into a single weapon challenge, and I might if I just don't get what I'm looking for. Hey, Xeno. Welcome to me just breaking things as I do. Throwing waves of damage around. Still tired like I was talking about earlier. But surviving. In more ways than one. You are trying to hem me in and you're not gonna get away with it. Your mushroom circle will not stop me. Well, that's fantastic. As long as it ends up panning out, of course. Make our cleaver stronger. So, I was in a pretty good spot art-wise yesterday. I have no idea if it's gonna hold. But hopefully yours holds at least. The pike wouldn't be a bad thing in combination with what I'm doing here. It's not the one I wanted. Well, that's good. Arcane Beam doesn't match with what I'm doing here, and I'm actually gonna get rid of it so I'm not tempted. That should be doable. It'll be tricky. There we go, we over-leveled our Rune of Literacy so we can have more speed. Heal 30% at the end of every stage. Shaman Staff also doesn't fit what we're doing, so we'll delete that. Projectile duration is not a bad idea, actually. But yeah, the smoke would already kind of match the right color for natural wolf colors. I did see that you sent it. And I just can't really... Oh, I'll take a look. Okay. So it's not too far off of what you've been doing before, but it's got more going on with it. Okay. I see the idea there. We'll risk the troll blood. Ooh, I have extra damage and attack speed for this fight. Perfect. Well, yeah. I assumed it wasn't done, considering you were still pointing out ideas you had for it. Just the base impression I got for it was that. Because it still has elements of what you've usually done in there. Okay, the trolls are a little durable. That might be a little bit of an issue. Yeah, exactly. I could drop my projectile duration, or I could raise my projectile duration. Actually, yeah, go ahead and be super slow, but last really long. That's fine. That'll actually be really useful. Because what'll happen is they'll do this. They'll just slowly waddle through the enemy. I mean, there's a blessing and a curse there. You get a lot more done, but you just have to make sure not to stay up way, way late because of it. Shurikens are not what I want either. There we go. We're starting to hit the point I wanted the cleavers to be at, where they're just layered over each other, making a pile of damage shielding in front of me, basically. Just can't kill the elites, and I need to kill 70 of them, so we might be in a spot of bother on that score. There we go. With the boost from the altar, we might be okay. Get my health up because I'm gonna need it since we're playing close in. There we go. Cleaver's maxed out now. That should make it a little easier for us to find other upgrades. I'm gonna grab Gluttony just to get it off the table because I'm out of banishes. I'm still not convinced I want pikes, so I'll take the speed. I do have to actually kind of think this one through a little bit, or we're gonna get in trouble pretty quick here. Okay, I guess it was just that one troll that was particularly powerful. Or is the altar still going? Yeah, the altar's still running too. You know, that thing I cause and get into constantly. That. I could make my projectile smaller, but get another one. Sure. We lose some coverage, but it'll increase our damage because they'll still layer over each other. Continue flailing wildly with the cleaver to try to save our lives. Okay, we're capped on projectiles, so there's no point in taking compromise. Compromise would just damage us rather than helping us. Yes, defense piercing is going to be important. Thankfully, we have so much knockback from all of these projectiles that they really can't make any headway toward us. Get more duration, so they travel further. Because thankfully, with the projectile cap I have on right now, we can throw a lot of these out before it starts to impact the cap at all. This fight is actually kind of ideal for our weapon, because sending enemies en masse at me while I have giant cone attacks just gives me free experience. We're gonna be on this stage for a while though, because we're only a third of the way through what we need to get done. I'll take the overworked risk, actually. That might backfire on me later. And by later, I mean it might even happen now. If I get hit, I might just explode. But that's the fun part. Sometimes you just gotta take the do you explode risk. Those damage calculations are definitely starting to make the game a little angry. And to think, this is only gonna get worse when I get the second weapon that I'm looking for. Which still has yet to show up yet, which has me kind of concerned. Then again, we're still very early on. We haven't even left zone 1 yet. So, I shouldn't start panicking until I don't see it in zone 2 and I'm still running around with a single weapon. But even then, I'm not too scared, because as you can see by what the cleaver's doing already, I have nothing really to be that afraid of. That's actually worth it. Because our attack speed's high enough that it'll still be attacking pretty frequently, and the extra knockback will balance out. Not to mention, you know, the extra attack damage will just clean up for us anyway. That should get our elite killing rate up a bit. Actually, yeah, take merge. Since we're already capped on projectiles anyway, making everything larger by merging them makes perfect sense. Because we didn't even lose a projectile on that exchange, because I think I went one over at one point. Did I find new equipment? I did. I would lose 4 power. That's a little spooky. This one's absolutely fine. Defense per player level is pretty nice. This one's fine. I gain speed without losing any power. I do lose some defense, which does put us at an overall negative from equipment, but that's okay. What's our power look like right now? I cannot afford to take the power drop right now. Okay, we will not do that yet then. But I will keep that in mind. I just gotta remember, I'm now much faster than I was before. I need to not run myself into death like a fool with our increased speed. That'd be the exact opposite of what I want. We are still capped on projectiles, which is impressive to say the least. No, that would take us off the cap. Which is not what I want. Just get more duration. I don't want to waste all my rarity rerolls looking through green cards. I'll go ahead and wait till we see another orange. I need to make some moves to get some more of this experience. Because if I leave it all on the table, this will backfire horrifically later. Nom 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 nom. Now, this is why I keep getting more projectile duration, so I have like a zone of control constantly. And when I need to, I can use our talent to just emit that circle. Well, to keep the area around me clear so I can figure out where I need to be. So I really need to remember to use that more because it charges pretty quick, especially in a fight like this where we have a stupid amount of enemies on screen for me to chop through. It's kind of funny that I titled this flinging objects when really I've been throwing in units and energy around instead of anything you would actually consider an object. Rip. Take the defense. I don't think I'll go wild enough with any of these runs that I'll end up with like a bitrate destroying setup this time. He says knowing full well that that's gonna inevitably somehow happen anyway, because what is this self-control you speak of when it comes to projectile count? There's no such thing. There is only madness and projectiles all over the screen. And I may as well just mention what I'm looking for, actually. I actually want the katana, of all things. That is one thing we agree on quite easily, yeah. They can't kill us if everything's being hit with projectiles constantly. Most of the time. You know, as long as the projectiles are working. Remove his monster kill requirements from normal stages. I don't actually want that. Because I want to have enemies to kill. There we go. Give me the experience multiplier instead. Much better. Because if I got rid of the monster kill requirements, we'd get through stages a lot faster, but I'd get significantly less experience. We're not at the point in the game where I want that yet. Later on, I would actually love to have that because we'd start flying forward. Though it would start probably replacing it with time requirements instead, which just make everything take forever. I do want the greed card. Go ahead and reroll. Yes, give me that. Sure, I'll sacrifice some defense for more attack speed. Best defense is waves of energy all over the screen. Yeah, but see, all I have to do is kill 700 enemies on this one. And we've been here for seconds and we've already killed 50, so... that should tell you everything you need to know about how this is meant to go. I just gotta watch out for the witches that have the projectiles. They're the only real danger here. I've also got to be kind of careful with how I reduce my defense, because if I go negative, the multiplier will just make the negative higher, which will be a problem. That said, there is a achievement for having, like, I think it's negative 100 defense? It's either negative 100 or negative 100%. I forget which one it was. I think it's negative 100%. Because that's harder to achieve. And I kind of want to do that just so I get that unlocked, but I also don't know exactly how to achieve that, if I'm honest. So that's a problem for the future. Like, obviously, achieving high negative base defense would be things like the equipment reducing our defense. Explosive vials are a consideration because we do have an unlock tied to explosive vials, but we can do that later. We'll beat up some elites so we can get that double draw we just unlocked getting. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, this would actually be a positive stage to have the monster kill requirement moved on, because it would just be kill the 3 champions, but it also said only on normal stages, so I don't think it even would have applied here anyway. Nom 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 nom. Okay, 3 champions are dead. Just gotta clean out 1,000 enemies now. I've just gotta keep remembering that the weapon limit's there, so I'm not tempted to just grab a goof-off weapon and then be stuck with it as my only other option. Cause like I was just tempted by the Ace Novas again there. I'm just like, you know, it'd be fun to have those. Yeah, but it's your only other weapon, and you don't like those. I really need Void Spirit or some serious pickup range, one of the two. Because God, this whole leaving most of the experience on the table is just sad. Treasure. Heal on level up is always good. I don't want any of these. I'll go ahead and go down a projectile count and fix it later. We have 6,000, so a shop wouldn't be the worst idea, but it wouldn't be my best idea either. There's no blacksmiths at all. So, yeah, we may as well go to a shop then. There we go. More enemies, but less health for them. Just give me free experience. Of course, that had a void in it that I immediately ate by accident. Before today ends, I might make a try for doing a B rank run. We'll see how I feel after this run's over. How confident I am. Which, fun fact, as you can probably guess, will depend on how this run ends up playing out. If I lose, confidence isn't going to be as high as you might imagine. But if we were riding a wave of success, B rank run might be a thing that goes out as a try. The other option is actively trying to unlock more of the evolution weapons, with things like the explosive vial and the bow getting to level 8 and things like that. Which a setup that's just like bow and explosive vial would honestly be pretty effective, because the bow by itself is pretty good in this game, which is kind of silly to think about, just a basic wooden bow and arrow being resoundingly effective. Ooh. We wouldn't gain much out of that right now, but we'd also not lose much. We'd only lose 12 health. But I don't think we really need more power at the moment, which is a heretical thing for me of all people to say, but I think turning our sword wave into a slowing wave is better than a modicum of extra power right now. But, like, if you'll notice, our attacks are killing most things in one hit anyway, so a little bit more power currently doesn't change anything. Whereas taking all this screen coverage and making it slow all the enemies down by a percentage means that all the elites and such that survive our hits become immediately much less of a threat. Not that they are particularly a threat at the moment anyway, but you get the idea. I think it's a better future-proofing than 3 more power would be. They really want me to take the Wind Blade, which the Wind Blade does have an evolution that I need to go get, which I have had in the past. That was one of the ones I got when I was on the beta branch briefly, testing things. Back when there were certain updates that were only on that branch for a fair bit, and I wanted to see them. Because that was back when that was the only way to play things like the Gunslinger and such. Which was also when the Gunslinger was kind of busted. Eeny, meeny, miny, this one. I could spend all my money to get my rarity reroll charges back, and honestly, that doesn't seem that worth it to me. Beef statue, no. Light armor's not bad, but not for the amount I paid for it. This was not worth buying either, though. This shop was garbage. This makes me sad. Well, time to get out of zone 1. Just sit here and play spin to win until this charges. We... do want to clean up this experience though, because otherwise it is definitely getting left behind. And I don't mind the altars causing a bit of corruption, that's okay. It'll make everything a bit stronger, but won't get out of hand enough to be too big an issue yet. Just casually check my email while I'm standing here. That's the level of unbothered I am right now. Can just casually check Discord, check my email, and all that while I'm doing these altars. Eventually, nonsense like that's going to get me killed, and I know it. But that's part of the fun. Risking it for the comedy. I almost feel like I'm in water with the waves I'm making, since it lines up right with where we're at, so it's almost like I'm actually making waves out of the sides of me. Hi, Shaman. There you go. Chop, 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 chop. Hey, Viv, how you doing today? Chop, 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 chop. You too, huh? It seems like one of those days where everybody's tired, myself included. Didn't have the best night last night, but otherwise everything's fine. I'm just making do where I can. Yeah, we get all the experience and we're out of here. Yep. Like I said, it just seems to be one of those days where just it hit everybody collectively somehow. Oh yeah, I didn't show you guys the Behemoth Graveyard last time because we unlocked it at the end of that session. God damn. It really is just one of those days where we're just like, nope, nobody is allowed to sleep last night. No. Everyone suffered together. There we go, there's the first half of the Void Spirit. Oh, we are zoomed in a lot on this stage. Like, it makes you wonder, just like, was there just something in the... I can't even say that was there something in the water, because we're all so far apart that it's like, no. Somebody would have to have put it in every water supply everywhere for that to be true. That would be a wild concept in and of itself. It's just insanity. Oh no, Viv. At least it'll be easy enough to trim that end bit off so it doesn't just carry on with nothingness. We all have that happen now and then. It's been a little bit since I've done it, but I definitely had it sit for like a good 10-15 minutes before I realized that I hadn't ended it. Because you just get caught up in what you're doing after you send everybody off, and just like, oops. Yes, that was still going. Trim, 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 trim. so that wasn't even like a raid day? Oh. I mean, at least they warned you with that. So that's good, at least. Let's see, do I want more wind or do I want more fire cards? Based on what I know of the game, I want more fire cards. And even if I didn't know that, I'd want more fire cards anyway. Because fire. Just for those that don't know, all these cards have these tags down here at the bottom, so like this power card here, for example, has fire. This one's a moon card, that's a wind card. Wind, we've got most of the cards I want from already, is why I didn't want the wind set as much. Not that I really want that one either. I mean, you could argue the moon cards are Xeno cards. Or maybe some of the hunt cards. Which the moon cards are useful. That I want to say those. No, it's sun that's experience, and moon is useful. I just forgot exactly what effect it's tied to right off the top of my head. While hunt is a lot of like critical damage and things like that. Why I remember all of this is beyond me. I don't even play this that often. And yet here it is, buried in my brain like so many other things that just exist. I mean, there was a time where I played this a lot, so it's probably from leftover from that. Okay, and then there's metal cards, which are the primary thing for projectiles. I don't want any of those particularly. Yeah, sure, the Rune of Heaviness. Make it heavier. Which, that is still just such a choice of phrasing with Rune of Heaviness. Not like Rune of Weight or Rune of anything else. Nope, Rune of Heaviness. Which is on purpose. That is absolutely 100% on purpose. But I feel perpetually compelled to point it out every time it shows up. God, I know exactly what you mean with that one, Xeno. Like how I still remember the routing for so many games, and it's like, you know, if I could just remember dates and times as much as that, I would have so much other stuff done properly. Yeah, give me half of everything that's left on the stage at the end of every stage. Sounds good, Viv. You have a good nap. I could risk it. Armorless. No defense, only power. This is gonna end some kind of way, but you know what? I've done it now. There's no take backsies. The button has been pressed. We are pure power now. Which, what's our total defense now? I want to see what the total negative is. I mean, yeah, it's down to 0. I can't see what the actual full negative value is, though. What it looks like. Is it just zeroes it out? Ah, well. No one needs defense. Defense is for quitters. Well, this put me in an awful position. I now need to waste all my projectile size, or I lose my only weapon slot. Not that I have spare. Send out a couple waves to clear the area around me a bit, and we should be fine. If it gets spicy again, I can just whip out another circle of blades and we'll be fine. That's why I'm holding charge right now, so that I can just clean the area around me if it gets spooky. Thankfully, the katana's finally here. Now nothing can get near me because I will just slice anything that enters that circle around me. Which is why I wanted it, because it's an auto attack move, basically. Unless they changed how it works, which, did they? Nope, just slashes at nearby enemies. Yeah, no, that's fine. I did forget I have chain lightning on my blades. I mean, getting less base defense literally doesn't matter now, so sure. I'll get more redundant projectiles, why not? Because now I can do this freely. Need to raise our attack speed. We are poor right now, so there's no point going to a shop. Eventually I will be attacking so fast that all of our attacks just kind of merge into one. And that's the dream. Where we just throw one giant blurred wave of death out in front of us. It will be impossible to discern, but it will do stupid damage. So as it stands, we have like a 180-degree range of everything must go. So that's honestly good enough for me. Like, between the slow and the amount of knockback, the elites literally can't make forward progress. They walk backwards away from me. Just make them moonwalk on out of here. Just moonwalk out of this life, Cactus Man. I do want to find one more crate for that bonus objective. I really don't think our katana's gonna get to do that much, and that's fine. That it's meant as a backup weapon more than anything else. I was originally thinking the cleave and the crystal sword, because the crystal sword at this point would just be spinning wildly and covering the screen. But we kind of did that bit already, so I figured the katana would be a more effective backup option without being the same thing again. It is admittedly less interesting, but like you'll notice those birds that came in behind me just immediately got cut down. Couldn't get to me. Keep raising our defense piercing so that no matter how high their defense is, we're basically playing defenseless on both sides. They can't block anything, and I don't block anything. So it forces a level playing field. Ooh, that's actually a clever trick. Since we have the thing that generates a shield around us when we take damage, I can just kind of bump into a cactus and run forward with a shield on. Because the cactus, as mentioned before, does like 10 damage to you. So it's a meaningless amount of damage to our overall health, but allows us to just run around invincible for a little bit. There we go, boost our health on that note. Since reducing our defense doesn't matter since we already have armorless on, so defense doesn't exist already. Because I think we actually need something specific to properly go into the negatives with our current setup. So I'm not super worried about it. As much as I would like another katana level, let's get the guaranteed gems, because we need that experience coming in with how much of a range we have. If I don't have that, I'm going to be leaving so much experience on the table like we have been already. Now, all of the experience constantly goes into my pocket, and I don't even need to move. Which, I do feel like Void Spirit's kind of too much of a you must take this kind of thing. Which is unfortunate. It's like, you're just guaranteed to be inefficient if you don't have it. And ordinarily, as you... Well, no, I don't particularly care about that kind of thing, but... you kind of need that, at least that layer of efficiency, or you just die. We've been here for 10 seconds, and nearly 3 of the elites are gone already. Sure. Yeah, that's actually the one I wanted concentration on. A smaller area around me of protection, but anything that walks into it should be just deleted. Sure, Fire Spirit. Yep, that's on the one I wanted it on already. Now we'll slow them, cause chain lightning, and set them on fire. Or every time these blades hit. Because, you know, clearly we needed more nasty effects on these swords. He's running from me. Get back here, coward. He knows what's gonna happen, but joke's on him. He can't escape me. We're all stuck in this box together. Sure, on kill with fire, or heal me. As if I need healing when I'm at double my health bar already anyway. Speaking of, how much health do we... Yeah, we have 1200 health because we have a cap of 600, but we're at double right now. Oh, thanks to the troll blood. Which is why I wanted it. The nice safety net if I do something stupid like charge too far ahead of my cleaver or blades. And you might be thinking those little voids on the ground are not worth picking up anymore. Funny thing about that is actually they're still worth grabbing because they will get you the money and food that's on the map too. It brings every pickup that's on the map to you. Actually, I don't remember if it affects food, but the important part is it affects gold. And right now, the best we'd be doing without running around looking for it is we'd get half the gold that's on the map. So I would rather get, you know, all of it. Because we definitely don't get enough of it from the end of map rewards compared to what we could be getting. I don't want the leaping boots. Phoenix Totem will be huge. Like, not huge in a necessary capacity, but huge in that it'll be very helpful if it becomes necessary. Phone, please. Okay, that's why phone's pinging a thing. That's fine. I had my phone sitting awkwardly on my desk, so when I went to scroll on Discord, the phone just started spinning. Just like, I don't remember what Kindle Fire does in this game. So I don't know if I want to kindle it or meditate. If I meditate, I can bring something over its max level, but I have no control over what it'll be. Hey there, Snork, how you doing? I'm gonna go ahead and meditate. Okay, sweet. We have level 5 out of 4 analysis now, so we're closer to that 100% crit rate I want. That'll work, that'll work. We'll beat up some more champions. Keep raising our base power. Keep getting that katana leveled up. It's always that way, isn't it? It's usually the dumbest answer possible ends up being the solution, but at least you found a potential solution. For myself, I'm just tired, more so than normal, since last night was not exactly a great night overall, but it'll be fine. So, on the whole, everything's okay. That's a good sign. No crashes in 9 hours, yeah? And I assume there's not been any further updates to the mod set, so... But I am curious, what was the very silly solution to the problem? While we're just sitting here watching number go burr, I may as well satiate my curiosities. Nom, 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 nom. Because honestly, playing games like this is probably the closest you'll ever see me get to a just chatting stream, because honestly that's all I'm doing is watching things happen while I talk about things. Why would whitelisting it from the firewall matter? It shouldn't be trying to connect to anything. Unless you're thinking that... I guess? Or are you saying that it being whitelisted is why it was crashing? Right. And yeah, we will absolutely take gigantification for those that didn't get a chance to read that. Now my projectiles scale with their size, and we've already made our projectiles pretty big. So this is ridiculous. Unless it's actively trying to change on the go, that really shouldn't necessarily be causing those crashes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see how that would be a problem then, yeah. That does make sense. It does seem a little weird that it would be trying to mess with the files while it's playing, but in this day and age, that's entirely believable. Even if it is a weird decision. Oh yeah, never mind. I don't know why I wanted the katana, because we already had the Artificer's katana unlocked. Well, it's fine. We'll just take that. That's not... I wasn't referring to that bug in particular when I say that. I meant more that there is the constant connection causing things like that to change is more what I mean when I say that. Because it has become more and more of a general practice. That's just one of the earlier cases of it making an issue. Honestly, I've never been a fan of that concept to begin with. Because if it needs to fuck around with things constantly, it's a bit stupid. Yes, I'm aware you don't need internet to play it. What I'm saying is sometimes things have a bad reaction to not having it, even if it does not have any actual connection. Some things react poorly to not having that connection regardless. Oh hey, there's that last void magnet I needed for Sloth. That is true, though, is anything that ends up interacting with files can make virus detection trip. It's like, hey, this is doing things, I don't like that. Hey, it's doing things. Right. I don't... Yeah, because it's only soul card effects on take damage that this would trigger, so it wouldn't trigger our barrier, which would be the only thing I have as far as on damage taken. This would be great with, like, thorns and such, but I don't have thorns, nor do I have a space for thorns anymore. But yeah, of course, a lot of base data would have to be in the base game because it incorporates base game models and such. So short of duplicating everything, which would make the mod's file size asinine, they have to have things be inside the base data. Well, the thing is, if you copy them and put them somewhere else, you then end up with a bunch of duplicated data, which makes the file size excessive. And it is a simpler solution as well. Because if you think about it, say you have, like, 100 models that both base game and mod use. You now have those models in 2 locations, which is wasting file space. And you then end up with a front-loaded issue of if somebody has to download all of that content in one go, that of course adds to the download requirement too, which adds a higher bar of entry for people getting the mod in the first place, unless you're talking a case where it, like, copies it from the base file when you install the mod, which would also work. But again, still leads to file redundancy. Right. Yeah. But make those cards less likely to appear. Yeah, I can get away with another copy of the Vile Coin. And I'll get my reroll charges back. Time for boss 2. Very few people can stay at 100% at all times without some manner of issue happening because of it. Some people don't have a choice but be at 100% all the time because that's just how their brain works. I haven't really tested what my limitations for 100% are in a while. So I almost always hold some back. I'm not sure about that one. Like, that's a genuine I'm not sure, because I'm not sure exactly how that works. Because I have not studied that. Apparently something hit me at some point. Because I saw that my shield was on. I probably bumped into a cactus running around like an idiot. There's the boss. Okay, yeah, our damage output has definitely fallen off a bit because we're not shredding through him particularly fast. He says as he rinses through its health at a pace where you can actively watch the bar dropping, but it's not as fast as I would like it to be. I know, creative, crazy name, huh? There we go. Now I gotta be a bit more careful though, because there's fire all over the place. And he keeps making more. And there he goes. Problem solved. By the power of filling the screen with cones of death. There we go, raise our attack speed based on our move speed, make our katana stronger, grab some new armor, and keep on keeping on. Let's see, this is D rank. So I think we have one more stage after this? Or is it C rank that has the stage after the crystal depths? I already forget. We'll figure it out. It'll either end after this stage or it won't. I think I might have made my speed too high. I think my speed might be a little too high. Considering we're reaching that point I mentioned before where the attacks start to be indiscernible from each other, I think we might be a little too fast now. Because I can just kind of do this. Speed. It just gets a little weird at this point because I'm just still spinning when we get to this screen. I'm just like, wait, hang on. Let's go ahead and lower our attack speed in favor of that critical chance multiplier. Because that puts our critical chance at what? 100%! Yay! So it's not a natural 100%, so we still don't get the unlock from that. So I still need to push it manually a bit. If we could just find things that do that, that would be great. Except I'm not going to, and this makes me sad. Sure, keep adding more enemies so I get more experience. We also need to actually go forth and kill faster, otherwise we're gonna miss that timer. Because waiting for them to come to us is actually inefficient in this area. If you're wondering, yes, I am in fact actually actively looking for critical chance right now and not finding it. I think we might have used all the critical chance cards already. Sure, make even more enemies, why not? We would remain capped at... Oh yeah, because that adds more attacks, not uses our attacks to make more. We want this one, because this makes our projectiles larger. Nope, we didn't make it in time. If I hadn't stood still and messed around, we would have gotten that optional bonus, but that's the cost of messing around. What a shame I didn't get my slight increase in extra goodies. No. Because, you know, clearly I need more. Sure, we'll get another fire statue to make fire cards even more likely to appear. Why not? Nope. Not worth doing this run again, because a win's a win. that idea of that level of perfection, honestly, I would say has had a consistent negative impact on people. Like, I don't know where that stupid idea came from, but it really should have never happened in the first place. Like, about the only time I would say that level of perfection has a place is in speedrunning, and that's just because that ends up getting so filtered down so hard that it just, the only way to get it any further up the line would have to be to get it down to even further than literal frame perfect somehow. I mean, I haven't stopped doing it, so it's kind of hard to do it again while you're still doing it. I'm not sure that's how that works. Like, can you really do something again if you never stopped doing it? I don't actually know realistically how that works. The logic here is flawed. I don't understand why I would stop the run just to restart the run when the run isn't over. You're just talking crazy. No, see, it's right here on the screen still. Everything's fine. I'm not dead. Yet. I barely even dashed to begin with, so there's no point in getting the dash bonus. Have you tried refreshing the feed, Snork? I think you're seeing the last run. You might just have an hour of delay. Hey, now we can craft and modify modifiers. Yay. And now we go to another shop that I have no money for. Sad. Fight the monsters and save them. Give them something to save them. Sure, I'll fight the monsters. Give me money. Ah. Oh, you want me to not take damage, huh? Well, that's not gonna be a problem. Unless a bullet comes through and manages to hit me. Which it might. Especially since I'm just kind of I'm gonna be just doing this. See, I've never been a believer in that mindset outside of incredibly narrow circumstances where it literally demands that level of perfection, and I just don't care for things that require that level of perfection anyway. Because you have basically no freedom in how you play it at that point. So what's the point? Like, at that point, you may as well just have a bot do the job for you, because it's gonna be the same thing every time anyway. That's not a shock. Like, I would rather struggle against impossible odds trying to do it even remotely differently than just keep doing the same thing over and over again just for sake of success. But that's always a personal preference thing too. That will always be one of those, some people will go for that and some people won't. And both sides are valid. And, like, I have made it clear on innumerable occasions that repetition drives me insane. Like, that's why I so frequently, stubbornly use garbage items. Nope. Looks like it's working fine to me. Nothing can even enter the screen aside from elites. Seems like everything's fine. Yeah, I will stubbornly use even the most garbage items just so I try something else. Because things have to change. If they never change, then it's stagnant and pointless. After all, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. Which, that is an oversimplification, of course, considering it's physically impossible in certain cases to literally do the same thing repeatedly, since your skill level would change, realistically. So you're not quite exactly doing the exact same thing again, but... And that is how you can expect different results, but it's... I don't know. The degrees of difference, I think, are where the kicker on that really comes in, and why it drives me crazy to do the same thing repeatedly. Because I don't feel like the level of change is sufficient for it to actually be different. But it's an argument that could be made for it making sense for some people, at least, to try repeatedly. Because maybe their skill level does change sufficiently. I assume it's not a trip that any of you make often, either. I don't need any of these. It's not that significant a change in any regard, but I'll take it. I assume that's something that'll depend on exactly how everyone's feeling at the time and everything, who will end up being the one driving. We kind of have the ideal weapon set to a certain degree for this, as long as I stay back enough that the clones don't get me. Yeah, that is a bit of a rough drive. Yeah. But there would, of course, be a break between trips, so there's that. So I would assume you'd be stopping in part way at some point. Because 18 hours of driving without any stops is kind of crazy. It tends not to end very well. Not to say that it's not doable, just not necessarily healthy. Keep grabbing all the gold, even though I can't see it under my own projectiles. Yeah, that makes sense. This way nobody gets too road weary or anything. Okay, that's maxed out blood candle. Almost got that 100% crit rate, though. Aside from those lenses, I don't think there's anything left for me to get crit rate from. I don't really want movement speed when I get hit. Bolt gauntlets are fine. Oh no. Well, goodbye, frame rate. Well, yeah, there comes a certain point where I guess conditioning kicks in on that kind of thing, where you can do what most people couldn't or shouldn't just fine, though even then, I'm sure it's taking a toll on his health to do it that way. Well, you thought you couldn't see the ground before? Good news! There is no such thing as ground anymore. There is only projectiles. Oh boy. Even if I remove 100% critical chance multiplier, we still have critical chance left. Yeah, exactly. But that's what I mean, is the amount of sleep needed after that is representative of the toll that was taken to do that. That's the repayment for what was done to the body, basically, to make that happen. Instead of actively repaying your body along the way, he just front loads all the payment to the end. I suppose front loading would be the wrong word for that, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. Lunatic, increase base power. Our defense multiplier is already 0, so that's fine. We would go up to 2,592% defense piercing. How does that even work at that point? Well, you know what? I'm taking it anyway. It adds 10 corruption, but with that much defense piercing, I don't think anything gets any tougher at that point. You know, and I said earlier that I don't think I was going to end up making a bitrate destroying attack set today. I don't know how good the bitrate's handling. That's pretty much what's happening, yeah, is I'm just deleting the screen. Oh hey, what do you know? Tier 2 lunatic, there we go. Let's just max that out. Deal like 5,000% defense piercing. Because that's what I needed. Also, with the way that sentence started, I really just pictured Clippy for a moment. It looks like you're trying to erase the game. Would you like help with that? He just starts pointing to like the uninstall button. I don't need slippery skin anymore. Get rid of that. Go and finish aiming. Like, I'm just in a sea of gray now. Like, all you can see is his head sticking out, just like, help me! I'm in a sea of death! Help! What do? How did I get here? There you go, accumulation's maxed out now. Give me all that gold. You know, I'm really glad I didn't take a second projectile weapon now, honestly. I feel like the frame rate would be dying right now if I had taken a second projectile. Yes, game, that's what I need. More defense piercing. Let's go up to 23,760% defense piercing. Why not? I question once again, how would that even work? If their defense is already completely pierced, how do you pierce it more? I don't think it would put their defense in the negatives because it's a percentage. Percentages don't change things to a negative. No, I'm just not even gonna fathom that. Just make my katana stronger. I've given up on trying to do any kind of mathematics involving that anymore. There is only cleave. There's nothing else. It's kind of like the rest of the internet that way. Give me all the gold. I'm purposely avoiding a movable object. Banish Balance Assault. There we go. I want the other side of Absolute Focus. I think it's Average is the one I'm looking for. The one that would take away my crit rate entirely, would make all of my attacks more powerful. I think that's the one I want. Also, if I'm not imagining things, I think that was experienced in the trillions, considering it was numbers and then a T. I think our experience might have reached the trillions. And I know even less about what to do with that information at this point. Yeah, sure, we'll take heavy at this point. The fact that all these projectiles are splitting is just absurdity. Yeah, because that's what I need. Defense shredding on top of my obscene amounts of defense piercing. Ooh, if I go into the negatives for base defense, that's going to then take all of... Actually, no, because our multiplier's zeroed out, so even if we go negative, it'll either stay at the base negative I took it to, or it'll stay at 0. One of the two will remain true. So let's find out. Yeah, our defense remains 0, because it gets zeroed out by the 0%, and regardless. Which admittedly makes it physically impossible for me to get that negative defense achievement, because it's impossible for me to make my defense negative now. Which also removes one of the ways I could manage to get myself destroyed here. Because one of the most foolish things I could have done would have been putting my defense into the negatives to charge around like an even greater fool than I already am. But with it being physically impossible, I'm protected from my own stupidity. This is one of the few tempting things left that could be a really bad idea, and I'm not taking it because we don't need more power. Our power is already high enough. And I would like this run to actually end in success, considering we're over an hour into doing it at this point. I'd rather not waste that hour. Because this run started at about the hour mark, and we're about 2.5 hours in now. Which remains really the one downside. Actually, yes, remove time requirements from stages. That will make this go faster. Except I think we're basically at the end now, so it doesn't matter. Because of course we get it now. And I think there's like... Yeah, there's not even another stage unless this isn't the final area. Which I don't remember if it is or isn't. Sure, give me Revolution, why not? Reroll the shop. Sure, Heavy Pickaxe for more base power. Keep adding more power. It really wants me to take Absolute Focus. Which if I take Absolute Focus... The card is blocking me reading that. There we go. So our total before the multiplier is based at 90%. So actually would be absolutely fine if we took absolute focus, if I'm understanding those numbers right. We'll take it and we'll see what the number ends up being. Okay, no, somewhere in how this was laid out, I misunderstood something. Oh no, actually that does make sense. Never mind. That actually lines up perfectly. Because it cuts it down by half instead of increasing it by 50%. Okay, never mind, that makes sense. I couldn't remember which way that spins, and well, now we know. So we only have a 50% critical rate now instead of guaranteed crits, and that's probably fine. So our power is, again, still pretty high. Now's when we start banishing a bunch of garbage cards in the hopes of finding something potent enough to be worth grabbing. Actually, yeah, grab the lens, even though that's not very potent. It starts... I'm still trying to get that at 100% base critical rate, even though I'm still not convinced it's physically possible at this point. In fact, let me check my banish pile. Oh, average got banished at some point. So that's why we never saw it. Because I didn't banish it. That I must have taken whatever its counterpart is and didn't realize. Like, I didn't actively do it. Yeah, because when I took Subsonic, that's why the other side of that one got removed, for example. Oh, maybe Overworked removed it? Since that's a critical damage multiplier one, maybe that has an interaction that I didn't remember? It's the only one that would make sense out of that pile. Not 100% sure, though. Really can't be sure on that one. Those interactions have kind of gone deep enough, and it's been long enough that I do not remember. It's not something I cared enough about to keep in guaranteed memory. All I know is throw multiple million damage blades out and hope for the best. Just attack, go burr, and I win. Oh god, speed is not what I need right now. Speed will get me killed. What I might do is I might just spam all of my remaining charges when the boss shows up. Though actually no, that would be stupid because it'll just hit the shield. But once he starts summoning minions, it'd be worth throwing out some of our circle charges just to ensure that the minions die fast. Though you'll notice our attack's underneath his shield still, so we were actually hitting him through it for a little bit there. Yeah, I gotta go stand in the circle. Yeah, we already broke him through to the other phase. Because we have so many attacks on screen. And there we go. Necromancer defeated. I don't think he was on screen for 90% of that fight. Ooh, start with shurikens, kind of a neat equipment bonus. And yeah, run ended. Should I wield a third weapon with my teeth? So there we go, that's a second success for the day. which compels me to do something stupid just so we balance out all this success with a failure.